guys, welcome back to Bombchu. I'm Austin, and today I'll be looking at the Humble Monthly Bundle from March 2019. It's March. What happens in March? Oh yeah, St. Patrick's Day. Will luck come through and give us a good bundle, or do we have to drink our troubles away? Let's dive in and find out. This month's Humble Original is Minute Metropolis. It's a city builder that condenses 20 years into 20 minutes of gameplay or less. Tutorials are quick and easy, the interface is simple, and the mechanics don't take a lot to wrap your head around them. I'm normally not much of a city builder kind of guy because I don't like planning far out ahead, and usually bankrupt myself pretty quickly. It's actually pretty tough to do that here, and at worst, if you have a bad run, you've lost 20 minutes of your time rather than hours. The goal seems to be to get as high a score as you can, and you earn score by building parks. So after I had a lot of resources coming in, I discovered it's really easy to just fill the screen with parks, which can go next to any building or road that you've made. Pretty simple, but enjoyable. I'm not sure I'll keep going back to try for higher scores, but I enjoyed my playthrough more than I thought that I would. Slipstream is an old-school arcade racer with an emphasis on drifting. Alright, first off, the music and visuals are spectacular, and instantly put me into that old great game feel without feeling dated. The game itself is pretty simple once you learn how to drift, which is necessary. To drift, you let go of the gas, tap the brake while you're turning, and then start accelerating again. Pretty simple. Like the title says, you'll also need to make use of the slipstream mechanic, driving behind another car to boost your speed while they cut through the wind for you. Doing this while drifting is a blast, though I accidentally hit other cars often doing this. The penalty for screw-ups is usually not that severe, so just keep driving and hit that next checkpoint. Playing by myself, I don't see getting a ton of mileage out of this game, but it does support local multiplayer, and I could easily see myself playing this every now and then, just for some good feels. These next three games I covered at the end of last month's review. I've updated my look at Earth Defense Force 4.1 and Cultist Simulator, but if you've already seen my look at Vermintide 2, you may want to skip ahead. Timestamps for each game are listed down below. Warhammer Vermintide 2 is Left 4 Dead, except the zombies are rats. You and three other heroes, travel through maps to complete objectives and make it out alive, fighting angry rats along the way. You need to stick together or you'll get swarmed and picked off by special rats. Like me. Thanks for the help, team. Unlike Left 4 Dead, Vermintide has a much bigger focus on melee combat, with ranged weapons being secondary. You'll also earn levels and loot when you complete stages, so you can upgrade your character to be more effective in future playthroughs. This adds some great replay value beyond the already great gameplay loop of Left 4 Dead. It's co-op, it's action, you kill zombie rats and get stronger. It's fun. I really like it. After last month's review, I got a ton of comments telling me to keep playing Earth Defense Force 4.1, as it had a lot more to offer. After playing some more with Chris, here are my thoughts. The base class is really boring, and I wish I hadn't played on that class at all. The other classes present are much more interesting, and I would encourage you to try them out. Wing Diver is my favorite for sure. You actually do eventually fight more than just ants. However, from my personal point of view, these enemies are really annoying, trapping you with webs that require a ton of shooting to free yourself, really slowing down the pace of the game. There's a wide variety of weapons, though a lot of them I didn't love using. Gameplay is pretty mindless, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I love mowing through enemies without a thought in Dynasty Warriors, but killing enemies in this game just doesn't feel satisfying to me. You can upgrade your stats by picking up drops off the ground, but they go up so slowly and by such small amounts that it felt like I wasn't really increasing at all. Co-op did improve the experience a bit, but not by much. Maybe a full 4-person session would help, but I'm not really sure. This is all personal opinion though. I like the way I feel thinking about the game on paper, or looking at it being played, as it gives me a lot of nostalgia. But while playing it, I just don't have fun. That's not to say that you won't, as there are obviously a ton of people who love this game and this series. I'm just not one of them. Cultist Simulator is a game I really didn't understand or enjoy, and based on descriptions from people who did enjoy it, it doesn't sound like I would ever get to the point where I would like it. However, a viewer from last month seemed to have a much better grasp on the game and kindly explained what they liked about it so much. So with their permission, here's Nomo Turtle's take on what makes Cultist Simulator tick. So Cultist Simulator is very similar to other games by the same dev, like Sunless Seas, Sunless Skies, and Fallen London. If you don't know these, this means the game is very story and lore heavy, with a lot of interesting potential reading to do, if you feel inclined. Lots of brilliant world building. The gameplay places heavy emphasis on resource management between several simultaneous mechanisms and is a very fun loop once you get into it and have a picture of what you want to do. My only complaint might be that a single playthrough can be quite long, and it feels tedious once you forget what was going on after coming back to the game after taking a break. The main focus of the game is risk-based exploration. What? There's no map to explore this time? Well, this time it's the game's mechanics that's on offer to be explored. There's tons to do and many systems to learn, and it should take quite a long time to figure out everything the game has to offer, while meeting the challenges along the way. As it is with these games and risk-based exploration, it will be very difficult to not fail. The game can be unforgiving. You'll be going in blind, knowing little of what to do, what the goal is, how to avoid losing yourself to madness. But every time you fail brings the opportunity to gather information on whatever you faced and beat it the next time. Tower Unite is a community-based, virtual world party game. There's a map to walk around in and socialize, with a ton of locations to visit to play games, watch YouTube, listen to music, go shopping for items, with no microtransactions mind you, or have a virtual house party with your friends. The games are really varied, going from mini-golf to a zombie shooter with classes, to a typing derby, and so much more. Some of the games aren't super high quality, but there's something cool about being able to just jump from game to game in this social world. There's also a big modding scene, and you can make yourself look like just about anyone else that you can think of from other games, shows, and movies. I've barely scratched the surface here, and I'm really looking forward to spending some time with friends on this one. Late Shift is an FMV crime thriller choose-your-own-adventure game. I've never had much luck with FMV games, but my goodness, this one is really engaging. The cinematography is solid, as is the acting and the dialogue, and while I'm guessing your choices can't massively affect the direction the story takes, it still feels cool making the choices you do as you go. You're a guy who accidentally gets forced into a heist situation. Anytime I've seen this story play out in a movie or TV show, I've wondered what I would do in that situation, and getting to actually make those choices here is really satisfying to me, but also surprising, as I find myself making choices I wouldn't expect myself to make when I'm caught up in the moment. A single playthrough runs about an hour and a half, and I don't yet know how much replay value it has, but it's a solid choose-your-own-adventure movie as far as I've gotten. I can't wait to finish. Paradigm is a point-and-click adventure game where you play as a mutant with a giant tumor on his head. The game description mentions an antagonist, genetically engineered sloth that vomits candy, and I pretty quickly wrote this game off as one of those random and quirky for the hell of it adventure games, but good lord was I wrong. This game is really funny. So funny that I actually wanted to get through the puzzles that I didn't enjoy that much. Because whatever came next always made me laugh and surprised me. I can't show lots of examples here because it's better to just experience it yourself, but a big positive are skippable voice lines, which I actually usually didn't want to skip because the voice acting is a good chunk of the humor a lot of the time. But it came in handy when I examined something again by accident. In terms of gameplay, this is really not for me, but I still plan to keep going anyway because it's just making me laugh so much. Fight and Rage is a side-scrolling beat-em-up ripped straight from the 90s. I assume it takes a lot from Streets of Rage and Final Fight, but I only played the original Final Fight, and it feels a lot like that. So let's deal with the elephant in the room. The first thing you're going to notice is boobs. And we're not done, because when you go to pick a character, you're immediately greeted with crotch shot. Yeah, every girl in this game is dressed about like this. So if that bothers you, maybe move on to the next game. Otherwise, let's continue. You start off with 3 characters you can play as, with more to unlock later, including enemies. I tried Gal, the buxom bombshell, and Ricardo, the big-ass minotaur. Gal is fast and has great range. Ricardo, on the other hand, is slow as hell and has no range. But good lord, he hits so hard, his opponents explode into bones, making it actually kind of difficult to determine which character I liked playing as more. You have a simple combo, and performing it while holding down throws your enemy backwards, while holding up throws them forward, making it easier to handle crowds of enemies on screen. You also have a special move that can get you out of trouble when you're surrounded, and it recharges pretty fast. Best of all, this game has 3-player co-op, which I'm dying to try. The music is great, the pixel art is authentic, it's flashy and really fun. And it feels fair, which I usually can't say about a lot of arcade beat-em-ups built to get you to pump in more quarters. So overall, how was this bundle? We had a really wonderful mix here, with a AAA, a B game, some great indie games I knew about, and some that I didn't. There was also quite a lot of variety, so if anything wasn't really up your alley, there's a chance there was something else in there that was. A lot of these were from pretty niche genres, but the ones that were did certain things so well that I think they could pull a lot of people in who wouldn't normally play those genres. So overall, how much bang for your buck was there? Getting all these at full price would cost about $210. Getting all these at their lowest sale price would cost a total of about $117. Overall, I'd say this was a pretty surprising bundle. Looking at the games at first, I expected a lot of disappointment, but actually playing them made me really glad I gave them a try. Next month's bundle has Northgard, Mutant Year Zero, and Absolver. Let's take a sneak peek. Northgard is a real-time strategy game following a clan of Vikings. I'm not much into RTS games, but Northgard took me by surprise and feels a lot like one of the few RTS games I really enjoyed, Warcraft 3. At the start, you don't need every building and unit type, and no one's really coming for you, so you have time to think about what you want to do and can explore and grow at your own pace with a goal in mind. Gathering resources, forming buildings, and assigning villagers is a breeze, and people just go ahead and do their jobs. Created some scouts, they'll automatically explore the land for you. Have some injured people next to a healer, the healer will just heal them. You don't have to micromanage your people. I like the way expansion works, as the map is split up into large sections that you must clear of enemies to start colonizing. Colonizing costs food, as does having too many people compared to farmers. And in the winter, your people generate less food and consume more. You also fight worse in the winter, so sometimes it's better to spend that time building up your existing land and wait out the cold. RTS games live and die by their interfaces for me, and this game has a really solid interface that gives me all the information I need without confusing or overwhelming me. Combined with letting me take my time, I really liked what I played here, and actually plan to play more. Mutant Year Zero is XCOM-style combat blended with real-time stealth and exploration gameplay. Like XCOM, battles are turn-based with each player and enemy taking their own turn, performing movement to get into a good defensive and offensive position and then taking the best shot they have at the enemy. This gameplay is tried and true, and it still feels great here. It's also not super difficult on normal like XCOM 2 was, so if that game scared you off, consider trying again with Mutant Year Zero. Between battles, you get to freely roam the map, looking for supplies and deciding what areas to go to. You can bypass battles entirely, or you can sneak around and pick off enemies without letting their buddies know if you're quiet enough, avoiding a fight entirely and still getting the experience and loot. It's rewarding, and it breaks up the strategy gameplay of combat quite nicely. I'm pretty terrible at strategy games, but I'd love to keep going a while longer with this one. Absolver is a highly dynamic multiplayer combat game. What makes this game stand out is the ultra-customizable movesets, with a massive wealth of options in combat making each player you fight a unique experience. Everyone I've talked to about this game adored it, but lamented that the multiplayer was dead, which was the main reason to play the game. There is a campaign, but it's really more like training for the multiplayer. I did manage to run into a few people who likely got it from this bundle, but we just kept helping each other fight AI enemies, which felt so wholesome I couldn't bring myself to attack them. That is until Kane left me to die when I swooped in to help him, that bastard. I chased him down and knocked him off a bridge, and I fell to my own death too, but damn it, it was worth it. Screw you, Kane. I'm not sure if Absolver is the right game for me. The amount of customization present is overwhelming to me, but I know this will be a lot of fun for some people out there if they can keep finding other people online. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're looking to see more of me or more of some of these games, I've started streaming a couple of times a week on Tuesdays and Fridays over on Twitch. Consider following. There's a link down below. We'd also love to have you join us on Discord, where we have a growing community. There's a link to that in the description as well. We've also created a Patreon, which you can find the link to both on screen and in the description down below. See you next month.